What is going on, everybody? It is Luke here today. I'm going to be talking about something that is really important, not only for Q4, which you just had, but throughout the year. And I see it as added bonus rather than spending your own cash. So, for example, this video is all going to be focused on why I would definitely have 100% either a Capital on Tap card or an American Express Gold or Platinum. Some people will say, oh, I don't want credit cards, or I don't want debt related to the business. I have money in the bank, right? I have, let's just say you have 20 grand in the bank and you're like, you know what, I don't need debt, I don't want debt, it's bad, and what if something happens to the business, blah, 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 right? But why not substitute that 20 grand for 20 grand on, say, a Capital on Tap? So you have 20 grand in your bank, you get a Capital on Tap with 20 grand limit. Now, you don't go and spend both 40 grand, because then you're obviously liable for that 20 grand on Capital on Tap, right? But you basically substitute what you would spend in that 20 grand in your business account, like cash, for 20 grand on Capital on Tap or American Express, for example, yeah? And that way, let's say something happens, I don't know what happens, then you can just use that 20 grand to pay off that credit card and you're in the same position. Or you can just spend that 20 grand in cash and you get nothing. Or you can get rewards and bonuses and various different types, which I won't go through every single option, what you can convert points to and stuff, because there's many. But I go through the ones that I use and why I like them, and give you some options and stuff like that. So it's an interesting thing. It's like, why not? If you're going to spend 300 grand a year on stock or 100 grand a year on stock, why not get something back for that rather than just spending your own cash? Okay, do you get what I mean? And if you pay off the credit cards, or charge card would be for the American Express, by the date, the full balance, then you get no fees. There's no fees. You can see here on my Capital on Tap, it's a free account. Free rewards. There is no, I actually downgraded from the business rewards, which is like 125 quid or something, maybe it's changed, it was around that at the time, to a free account. And I still get points for spend, 1%, and it adds up over the year, definitely over a Q4 period, but obviously you want to get those points throughout the full 12 months, you don't want to be mucking around, right? Because they add up. Like, if you save a whole year of points, which I've done before, something like that, you can accrue a lot of points, and you can get, I don't know, free flights, free accommodation stays. I mean, I went to Dubai for 11 days, 10 nights, and all my hotels there, I stayed in 3 different hotels, were free, absolutely free, no charge, right? And I've got plenty of points left. So it's not like I spent a ridiculous amount. I mean, it was a lot, but it wasn't crazy. And that was just me saving for a year. So you could save for a year, your points, and then convert that into whatever you decide is best, because really what you got to do is you got to decide what you want in terms of hotels, flights, various things like that, and actually then convert and see what those points would give you, because each different company that you might convert your points to will have a different conversion. So for example, like some of the hotels you get 3 for 1 point. So 1 point on Amex, you get 3 points on, say, Radisson, or 2 points on like a Hilton or something like that. And you've got to decide, how much is the points that it will cost for the hotel, and what would that convert back to? So it's a little bit of work at the end when you do that, but you don't have to, some people, for example, Thomas Parkinson has millions of points, or has had millions of points. He probably isn't too fussed about getting the best deal, but definitely where it was my first, well, I've already used them now, but when I was going to convert after that year of saving, I really wanted to maximize my point value, and I wanted to get the best that I could for the points, right? And I ended up using a chunk to go to Dubai and use them for the hotels and so on. But you can obviously use them for whatever you want, depending on whatever needs you have. I just wanted to maximize. I didn't worry about the best, fanciest hotel, spending double the amount of points I could in a nice 4 or 5-star hotel in Dubai. I mean, I stayed in 5-star hotel, 2 5-star hotels, 1 4-star hotel. I got a free room upgrade. I got free fruits and stuff like that, because not only did I get the hotels for free, but because I'm using their membership, like most, like a Nectar card or something, because you sign up and get it for free, you get on their scheme, you're going to accrue nights or sleep nights, whatever you want to call it. So every time you stay, you're going to get registered to say you stay 5 nights. And then what's going to happen is you're going to go up the tiers of what you can get. So what I mean by that, if I just quickly go onto my Radisson app, it's saying I'm a premium member, right? Because I've stayed in some Radisson hotels. Of course, they're free, yes, but I've stayed in them. And I get free room upgrade, free early check-in and check-out. I get food and drink discounts, stuff like that. Many other things, but those are the things that actually kind of I would use, for example, or would like to have. So you're basically stacking, right? Is what you're trying to do. And yeah, you could go ahead and send some points to one thing, some points to another, but that's something you got to go ahead and do yourself. And I spent couple of hours, just kind of playing around with what I could get with my points. And that's something that I did just to maximize my points. Anyway, moving on. So capital on tap, as long as you pay the balance off before it's due, no charge, 0 charge. So the card's free, and also I basically pay nothing in fees, right, throughout the year. The only time I might pay something for fees is if I do a drawdown. So because annoyingly my HSBC business only has a £1,000 limit to send money. So sometimes when I need to pay a 6-7 grand wholesaler, I have to like send £1,000 every day. But over Q4, I'm like, right, I need to get that money fast. So I draw down a sum into my Starling account, which is where I use it. So it's, sometimes I have minor charges. I think I had 13 quid for doing that over a short period, and I paid it back from my HSBC account, basically either the same day or after a couple of days, depending on when payments and how much money I've got in the bank. So what I've started to do on this, you could just take the points, convert to cash. See, you can get 1%. Redemption's free, all that kind of thing. And you literally would just, for example, here for the current billing period is basically it's 100 quid, £100. This is what I've got currently sitting in my account, and I'll get that 100 quid. I can just put it against the statement, and it counts as income. Okay. Again, it's not financial advice, I'm not a financial advisor, but it counts as income for the business. So it would look like you're getting paid 100 or whatever you accrue. Yeah. But something that I've now started to do, because you got to see what your lifestyle's like, right? I like Airbnbs. And I like to stay in Radisson, or I like to stay in a hotel when I go away. So, I can't, sometimes it's more convenient for a hotel. For example, Radisson is right next to Stansted Airport, and I normally fly from Lithuania to Stansted because it's the easiest one for what I do, for where I can get back home and stuff like that. And it's right next door. And if my flight's at like 7 a.m, I'm going to stay in the Radisson overnight. So you've got to work out, for me, like what would I probably end up paying for in real life, and I'm gonna reverse engineer that and work out what I then want to then not pay for, right? So I like to stay at Airbnbs. Me and my friends might go away for a long weekend and we're staying in an Airbnb. Okay. Well, what you can do now, Capital on Tap, hopefully it's not logged me out. Good. Is you can obviously go ahead and get gift cards, right? And that does not then count as income as well, just as a side note, because it's not actually a gift card is not income. So if you've got like a 10 grand gift card, it's not classified. It doesn't. No money is going into your bank as getting paid income, right? You're just getting this on an account somewhere, which you would spend. I really wish Slack had a feature where you can right click here and mute, and it doesn't, and it's really annoying. So hopefully we don't get a lot of pop-ups, but if we do, oh well. So the one thing I've been looking at, you could obviously play around and just like, oh, I go to Tesco's all the time, or I do Deliveroo, Argos, whatever. You can even get Argos and then go RA or something, whatever you see fit. But I say an Airbnb, and you get a 2% discount. So I'm also then getting an extra 2%. Again, nothing crazy, right? Nothing crazy, but it's extra. Why not? Like over the long term, that could turn into hundreds of pounds, and that could be a free weekend away, pretty much, apart from flights or whatever you do. Now, Amex do have that as well. I looked here. You can see here, but it's going to log me out, right? It doesn't matter. What I'll do is I'll pause it and log back in. That'll be okay. I'm in. So again, they've got gift cards on Amex, right? I currently got 38,000 points, blah, blah, blah. And you can obviously go in and on the benefits and help, and you can work out what you could actually convert your money into. But what you can see here, I can get a £25 gift card for Airbnb, but it's going to cost me 5,000 points. Now, what does that convert to? 5,000 points is £5,000 spend, because I just had a double check, and every pound you spend, if you spend £60, you get 60 points, right? Is that right? No, it's not right. You get 6 points. There we go. And so on and so forth. So 5,000 is 5 grand. Well, why would you spend 5 grand for 25 when you can go on Capital on Tap? You can spend basically 5 grand and get 50 pounds plus a 2% increase. Okay, so this is why it's worth looking at these kind of things and not just blasé-ing like, oh, cool, I love Airbnb. Let's just do 100. Yeah, you have to really kind of figure out what's going on, like in terms of what you want to do. Again, I haven't really looked at a lot of these, but you can knock yourself out. Something else that you can do, if we go on benefits here, you can actually see what there is. So we could go on the rewards, which is what we want. Again, some of this will be blurred out, but it doesn't matter. Oh, I just realised, my bad. Yeah, so if you spend 60 quid, you get 60 points. So you would spend 5 grand, you get 5,000 points, and then you would get 25 pounds of Airbnb. My bad. Early morning, so bear with me here. So you can click on the use points here, and you can see there's many different options, right? You can do donations if you want, but gift cards, which is what we just clicked on, shop by points, travel, blah blah blah. So the ones that I like is the travel, and you could use the use points towards purchases, but the conversion is not great. So basically, if you go to like a Locado, for example, you could actually use your points to pay for shopping instead of actually paying money. But the conversion is not great. Again, that's why you've got to go through these and actually look at what's the best option for you. Again, if you don't travel and don't do these things, then of course, like find the option that's going to work for you. So you can see here, there's airline partners, hotels, blah, 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 trains and stuff like this. So hotel partners for me is one of the better ones because you're able to get more hotel points than the number of Amex points. So you can see here, 1 membership point is 2 Hiltons. On the Marriott, 2 membership points, and so on. Radisson, 1 membership point. So you can go ahead and actually go, okay, so 50,000 points is 150,000 Radisson rewards. Okay, and so on and so forth, depending on where you want to go. And that, because I could get the most for my points, I just chose Radisson. Now they have changed their reward policy program on Radisson. I will log in and show you in a sec. So it is something you have to be aware of, that these can check, like the points you need to stay in a hotel for a night can change. What it used to be is you could basically stay at Radisson for like 40,000 points, like a standard, nothing fancy hotel, just somewhere random, maybe like a Stansted Airport, right? 40,000, or sometimes a bit less, sometimes a bit more, depending on the day. And that would be like 15,000 Amex points, which is not that much, 15 grand spend and a free night. So, you know, if you think over a year, how much money you might spend, you could get 20, you know, in that rate, you could get 20 or 30 nights for free if you were spending, you know, hundreds of thousands of pounds a year. So, which is pretty decent, right? Because, you know, think of how often you would do that. And again, Radisson have like hotels in, you know, like fancy resorts and like the Caribbean and stuff as well, not just the Stansted Airport hotel. But they have changed it. So it is actually now more points. But again, you would have to go and convert. I haven't actually, since the change, I haven't actually sent any more points to Radisson, so I don't really need to worry. And I have some points already on my Radisson. But the Radisson Americas, which is not like Europe and that, still has the old program. So for example, a 75,000 points is like pretty much the top price that you would pay for most. There is higher, but like the fancier hotels, it's an all-inclusive Dominican Republic for 75,000 points. Obviously, that isn't what you would pay in Amex points. So 75k divided by 3. I don't know why I did that. That's like very simple math loop, but okay, disappointing. 25,000 Amex points can get you like a 1-night stay in an all-inclusive in the Dominican Republic. Of course, you've got to pay for flights, right? But if you're able to pay for like 7 nights in an all-inclusive, and all you got to do is pay for the flights, which cost you like 700 quid or 500, whatever, it depends where you're flying from. That's pretty good, because there's not going to be a huge amount of like then capital expenditure by you in terms of like what you do. Again, like you could go and spend like thousands if you wanted at those places, but where it's all inclusive, all of the stuff that normally costs money is free. And if you want to do some excursions, fine, but overall the price is massively drastically reduced. So I'm going to go ahead and pause it and log in and just quickly show you. Okay, so I've logged in. You can see I still have 272,000 points here. Now, again, I don't really want to be spending it on the Radisson, like Europe or whatever this website is. It's .com, but it's not actually to do. It's basically more expensive, right? But you can see here, if I go into my reservations, these are the hotels I stayed in, basically for. I can't remember the price I paid, but you can see here, I stayed in these 3 hotels for 10 nights, I believe it was. Something like that. Doesn't actually say the number of days unless I work it out. Not going to bother. But it was for free, right? These stay, and I still have 272,000 here, and I still got Amex. So my 40,000-ish points would obviously be in the hundreds of thousands. Well, not hundreds of thousands, but over 100,000 points that I could add onto this. Now, what I will look to do, because it's now changed, is I will look to actually send these to the Americas, where the points needed per night is cheaper. So again, what I'm going to do is build up these points for the next, however long, 6 months, a year, whatever it is. Probably less in case they change the point system on the Americas. So maybe the next couple of months at least. And then look to book something for at least 7 to 10 nights, depending on how things go, like how many points I accrue and stuff like that, to actually then get a decent hotel. And it doesn't mean that you can't use these points still here, but to stay in like the Stansted one I've looked, with points it would probably cost you like 90 to 100,000 points, which is far more than what you want to be paying. Before it was like 45,000, so it's kind of doubled, which is kind of crappy. And so it is worth, like I said, going through and actually now seeing that maybe now Radisson is really not worth it. You can, as in you can use the same value-wise amount of value to get a night here, maybe is the same as getting a Hilton, which is obviously a better caliber of hotel, right? So, again, there is like flights and stuff, and you can go ahead. And I've never used it for flights because usually flights are kind of cheap in real life. Like, you can get flights to like America for like 480 quid. I flew to Dubai for like £400, like on Turkish Airlines. So there was, and it was decent. It was fine. Like three hours from Lithuania, then 4 hours to Dubai. I don't. If I was going on a long haul, maybe I'd contemplate using my points on a flight because But when you're doing 2.5 hours, I think it was 2.5 hours out to Turkey and then like 4 hours. I just watched one film, play some chess with some people that are on the plane, and then I'm getting off again. Like it doesn't really matter to me. Like it's perfectly decent and good. So yeah, like it's definitely worth looking at and actually getting a credit card for this exact reason. It's like why not have almost like a free holiday? Yes, it might not be the whole holiday, right? Because you got to buy stuff when you get there, and you might have to pay for the flights, but all I had to pay to get to Dubai is 430 quid each or something around that value for the flights, and then and some spending money when I got there. That's it. And actually, if you're savvy, just go to like, people say Dubai's expensive, or wherever you're going, there's always places where they're expensive. We went to like a Operation Falafel, like a falafel house, like whatever, they had chicken and stuff like that, and I get like a chicken wrap in that for like 9 quid with chips, easy. Like, not that I did that every day, but it's just anyone that wants to be savvy can spend 20 minutes googling. It's pretty straightforward. You get your free hotels. Usually the hotels or accommodations where the cost comes in, it's almost like double, right? You got the flights and you got the hotel, and it's, for me, you definitely need a Capital on tap and an Amex. I have an Amex Gold, but you can get a Platinum. It costs more per year. It costs about £595 a year or something instead of 100 and something pounds, 170 quid or something for the Gold. But you end up getting extra stuff like what they call it, not priority pass, but I already have a priority pass. Basically, you get lounges at airports and stuff like that. I have like a free priority pass that I basically have unlimited access on. So whenever I go flying, I also then go to the lounges. Like I went to the business class lounge, and that was sick. Like it was basically just like, even though I wasn't flying business, I got into the business class lounge. We smashed down like a couple of beers. Basically, it's free beers and free everything. That isn't obviously included in this, but it is. Once you get accustomed to doing that at airports, it's going to be pretty hard mental shift to be able to get away from that. But it's cool. So anyway, I'm going to kind of wrap it up there. But people say sometimes like, "Oh, I don't want credit cards," but you're getting all these. I basically went to buy half price, free hotels. Plus, I've got tons more points left, like floating around for. I'm going to fly back to England, for example, sometime in the next month, and I can go. Oh yeah, I can stay at a Radisson hotel next to the airport. Like it's free, basically. I don't have to work. Like I don't have to go. Oh, how much is that going to cost? Like more costs. There's always cost. Whenever you're traveling, there's always something that you have to add on for costs, and it ends up mounting up, right? But there is no mounting up when it comes to something like this, and so you're able to really drastically reduce your personal expenses based on this. And if you're going to go away and, I don't know, go to a conference, or you're going to go and do meet people for networking or whatever, it's free stay. Yeah, it's not like you're going to be doing those all the time. You might only be staying for 1 or 2 nights here and there, so you're able to do that without really just blitzing through your whole point. Obviously, depending on the size of your business, but even if you're a smaller business, just accrue them, just build them up, and you'll be surprised what you can get. And the two things that I wrap up with is on Capital on Tap. Anyone that signs up through the link that I put, many people already have it anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But you get if you get an account accepted, to basically they say, yeah, we're going to accept you as a client or customer. then you get £75 for free. I get £75 for free, which is cool. And if you don't want to do it, just go and sign up normally, and you don't get any money ultimately. But yeah, you can do that if you like. So again, like, it's a free card on this one. You get 75 quid each if you actually want to do it. Plus, you can get all these free bonuses. And on the Amex, you get extra. You basically get like I think like 30,000 points, bonus points when you sign up through the affiliate link, or you can just sign up normally and get none. Again, so I'll leave the 2 links below if you want to sign up. Again, you don't even have to use it potentially. Like, again, with the Amex, there's a cost per year, so you have to use it to an extent. I think it's like £100 and something. But with the CAPITALONTAP, definitely the one I've got, it's the free account. Because I downgraded because I don't want the Avios points, because I found that with flights sometimes it's really not worth. It's a lot more. It seems like, to get a business class flight, yes, you can do it, but it's going to cost you if you think about how much you've got to spend to get that business class flight, it could be £500,000. Now, yes, there's probably other ones that are better, maybe a short haul one for 3 hours, but I don't want to waste my points on a first class 3-hour flight. Like, 3 hours is just like boom. Like, I think half the time I'm asleep on the plane. Like, I'm not wasting £500,000 worth of points on that. I actually, like a hotel, you're actually, not that you're there all the time, but you're sleeping there, you're consuming it, you're using it, you've got like a couple of days there, or whatever it is, rather than like a quick get on the plane and have a nicer meal and your chair's better and a bit of leg room and then you're off the plane, right? But anyway, enough of that. Hopefully you understand why I feel that these things are almost mandatory within the Amazon space, because of what you're losing if you don't do it. Again, you don't have to spend that 20 grand in your bank and the credit card balance of 20 grand. You can just substitute one for the other. And then it's also good to have that 20 grand free for literal emergencies. You never know what's going to happen, right? It's better, if you can spend that 20 grand in your bank for stock, great. But then if you really get low, let's say that something happened, I don't know what happened, like for some reason you had a massive VAT bill that you really didn't expect, and you were like, oh my God, like I haven't got 3 or 4 grand more than I need 3 or 4 grand more. If you've got that 20 grand in your bank, you can go, okay, fine, right, thank God I've got that money available, let's pay it. And then I'll be a bit more careful with the credit card for now, and I'll build up a bit more cash in the bank. But if you're not using that credit card, you're just using that cash, then what are you going to do? Send some of your personal funds across to cover it? It starts to get a bit messy and a bit annoying. It's better to use other people's funds, which is free to use, than use your own funds, right? It takes 1 second of thought to sort of see that. Plus, they're giving you free stuff. So using other people's money, they're giving you free stuff. It's free to do it, and you keep your cash in the bank. I mean, what else do I need to say? Of course, not financial advisor, and be very careful. Obviously, not going like getting a 800 grand limit, maxing every single thing out. Then of course risks can occur, but you get what I mean. Hopefully you understand anyway. Simple enough if you break it down. Gonna leave it there. Hopefully you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you all next time. Bye bye.